Welcome back to another ACT review video. I'm Mr. Hibble. Today we're going to be diving into statistics you might be seeing on the ACT. Mean, median, and mode primarily, and then we'll focus on some probability in the next video. Mean, median, and mode is something that you get introduced to when you're younger, but it is something that a lot of people generally forget or they mix up which is which. So let's just start by defining each of those things: mean, median, and mode. Mean is simply known as the average of a set of numbers. Why are there two words for the exact same thing? I do not know. But if you're asked to find the mean, just find the average. Median, think about a road. You're driving down the road. Where is the median? The median is always in the middle of the road. It's what divides both sides of the road. The mode, there's some weird saying for this I had in elementary school or middle school, and it was mode, most, something with toast. I don't remember the whole thing, but mode is most. Again, I do not remember the saying. I just know it had something to do with toast for some reason. So let's go ahead. Let's find the mean, median, and mode given these two sets of data down here. Again, mean is just the average. Remember, we can always find an average just by adding each of the values in the set together. And once you have done that, dividing by however many things there were. Looks to me like there were 7 different things. Once you do that, you can go into your calculator, go into Desmos, and find what the actual average is. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Make it into that fraction for us. So 5. I'm not going to add the zeros in there because it's not necessary. Divide that all by 7, and we end up getting a value of 5.14. Okay, there is the average. From there, we can also find the median. Median is just the middle of a set of numbers. In order to find the median, though, you need to be careful. It's the middle of the numbers. So what that means is you need to order your values from least to greatest and then find the middle. In order to find the middle, you could start getting rid of values on both sides until you reach just a singular number in the middle. We find the median in this case is 4. Mode, look at the data set. Which number is the most frequent? Which one occurs the most? I believe there are 2 different zeros here. So the mode in this case is 0. Same idea if we did the second problem here. The only thing I want to discuss, though, for this one is the median and mode. Again, you guys know how to find the mean. Just add up each of the values, divide by however many there are, and you should find a value that works. The median and mode for this one, though, are slightly different. So let's just talk about that. Notice I'm ordering the values again, making sure it's least to greatest. I'm crossing out one value on each side until I get to the middle. But when I do it in this case, notice there's 2 different values in the middle. They're sharing that middle spot. Well, if I need the middle, I need the middle of those 2 numbers. Well, what is a way to find the middle of 2 values? That would be using our midpoint formula, which is really just an average. So all I'm going to do is take an average of these 2 values, 12 plus 19 over 2. And when you do that, you should get a value of, I believe it's 15.5 off the top of my head. There is our median. The mode in this case, notice each number only occurs once. In this case, that means there is no mode. So it is possible if they all occur the same amount. If there's 2 numbers that occur the same amount but more than the others, you can have more than one value for the mode. Let's look at some more ACT type problems, though. That's just an introduction more so. 7 says Michael has the following test scores. If he wants to average of 80, what does he need on the next test? Okay, so notice Michael has scored 4 tests so far. He's going to take another test, and we need to figure out what that value is, so he has an average of 80. Notice we're looking at average. We're looking at mean. So let's take his scores right now and start to build that average. Well, realize he's taken 4 tests, but he wants to average 80 on all of his tests, including the next one. So I still need to add in one more part, but I don't know what that score is, so I'm going to use an X for it in this case. From here, you could play around with the X value and just kind of guess and check until you get a value of 80. Or another method you could use is you could actually solve this. We could set it equal to 80 and solve. Remember, the ACT, you don't need to show your work, so what we can do now is we can start to type this into Desmos to solve the entire equation. So let's go ahead and do that now. Notice when I type this equation in, I'm going to type in the entire thing. I'm not just typing in the left side of the equation. I will also type in the equal sign, wherever that is. And I'll also type in the 80. Realize we're looking at test scores, so you're probably not going to see the line right now. So you're probably going to have to zoom out. And notice we end up finding our answer. Remember, if you solve by graphing, you're just looking for an x-intercept. We have done that, where it looks like he needs to score a 60%. Let's look at another problem. Number 9, Jake has scored 62, 78, 82, and 84 this year on his tests. If Jake scores an 80 on a 5th test, how do the mean, median, and mode change? That phrasing right there tells us we need to do 2 things. We need to find the original mean, median, and mode. And once we do that, we also need to find the mean, median, and mode for the new data set when he now has taken the 5th test. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to look at the mean last just because that requires some calculator work. Let's look at the other ones first. It looks to me like this is already in order. So if we start to cross some stuff off then, there's 2 values. We could average those out, and that should come out to 80, right? Halfway between 78 and 82 is 80. That is the middle. The mode, it doesn't look like there's anything that repeats the most. So that would be none. And let's do the same thing with the new data set now. So the data set, 62, 78. He scores an 80, so I'm going to input that between the 2 values so it's still in order. Let's find the median right away. And notice the middle number is still 80. Okay, the mode, there still is no value that repeats the most, so we'll still put none for that. But now let's go ahead and find the mean. Let's add our values together. Let's divide by the total amount of values, and we'll type that into Desmos. Let's set it up for both of these, though. That way we can just use Desmos in one go. Notice this one's getting divided by 5 because now there are 5 test scores. Back to Desmos we go. First fraction, 62 plus 78 plus 82 plus 84 all over 4. There's our first average, our first mean. And the other one was the same, except there was another value of 80 in there. So I'll just put that 80 in right now. So 76.5 and then 77.2. So we've answered this question for the most part, but there's really just one thing left to do. It says, how did they change? Well, the mean was at 76 and it's up to 77 now. So how the mean changes, it increased, it grew, it improved. The median, notice it was 80 and 80. The median stayed the same, or it was equal. And then the mode had no change, right? It stayed as none, so it is still none. There is a basic breakdown of mean, median, and mode, some ideas that might be on the ACT. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time as we look at probability.